my last video, I had this little 2-second clip of me brushing my teeth, and I couldn't believe how much feedback I got from that. I had people direct messaging me, people roasting me in the comments, and also people in real life telling me I was brushing my teeth wrong. So never in my wildest dreams did I think that some feedback from one of my videos would actually change what I do in real life. But here I am here, brushing my teeth in the quotation marks correct way. It made me realize something though. You could be going about your everyday life doing something that you've always done, but you don't know that you're doing it wrong. Because no one's ever taught you a different way. And because of that, there's no reason to change what you're doing.
Change. That is going to be the topic of today. Here are some tips, things that you can change in your riding to improve. So I've been riding now for a few years, and I think a lot of this stuff that I'm going to say in this video is a result of making mistakes, learning things the hard way, and also a little bit of trial and error. So I'm hoping that I can condense a whole bunch of these into one video for you guys, and it'll be useful. Oh, there we go. What I'm going to talk about today is not marginal gain stuff. This is like straight up low hanging fruit stuff that you can change tomorrow on your next ride and see immediate improvements. Strong turn, you can sit in behind me if you like.
Today I'm going to go through the top 5 things which I consider the easiest things to change in your cycling habits to improve your cycling, to go faster, further and longer. These topics are going to be nutrition, bike position, using a power meter and heart rate zones, gearing or things that you can buy, and the social aspect of cycling. Nutrition is definitely the topic I get asked the most, and I think the reason why there's so much uncertainty around nutrition is because by and large it is quite subjective. Everyone's bodies act differently. Depending on your size, depending on your metabolism, you will burn energy differently. But something that is common for everyone is that while you are doing exercise, you will be burning through fuel, and the key to nutrition is replenishing that fuel. Now, I break down my rides into 2 different categories. So there is the social kind of ride, the social casual rides, and then there's the tempo high-paced rides. Personally for me, on a casual ride, I aim to eat a gel maybe once every 2 hours, and I'll sip on some drink mix, or have other little snacks on the side, such as some lolly snakes or maybe like an LCM bar. And I'll try and use the cafe stop as the opportunity to take on more food and to fuel up. If you're not planning on doing many big efforts, I don't think there's much reason to go crazy on fueling, and you can save a little bit of money and save the gels for the harder effort days. This is just a personal opinion of mine, but I believe there's actually some merit to slightly under fueling on these easier rides. It teaches your bodies and your muscle to be a bit more efficient with its fueling. Now, in contrast to that is the tempo and hard rides where your fueling is essential. The following is a bit anecdotal and it will differ from person to person, but I find that on these hard rides you need to be refueling about 60 to 80 grams of carbs per hour. So that means you need to be eating about 2 gels an hour and definitely sipping on some drink mix. I think drink mix is the best way to get carbs into your body because it acts in 2 ways. 1, it's a lot easier to eat than gels, you're not fiddling with a wrapper. And 2, you need to be hydrated, so it'll be doing that job as well as giving you carbs. What I'm using currently is the Fixed Nutrition drink mix. These come in these little sachets which make it perfect in the morning for me when I just need to dump something into a water bottle or just carry something in my back pocket to fill up at a cafe. My favorite flavor right now is the tropical flavor. The next topic I'm going to talk about is bike position. I think this is something that a lot of people can work on, and that is making sure that the way that you ride is as aerodynamic as possible. There is a huge amount of energy savings to be had by riding in a more aerodynamic way, and I think the easiest way to do that is to tuck your elbows in and also get used to riding in the drops. If you've ever ridden with me, you'll see that I spend a lot of time in the drops, and that's because this is something that doesn't naturally feel that comfortable. It's always going to be more comfortable to ride on top of the hoods, and riding in the drops you might feel a bit cramped. I think riding in the drops is a skill that you have to gain over time, something that you find comfortable in and also find comfortable when you're putting out power. So I highly advise that even if you're riding in the draft in a group, just ride in the drops, try and see how long you can stay in there, maybe a few minutes at a time, and you will definitely see huge benefits from this, especially when you're riding on the front of the peloton eating all the wind. Depending on the speeds that you're going, you could be easily saving saving maybe 30 or 40 watts. And that is not an insignificant amount. Imagine trying to raise your FTP by 40 watts. The next topic I'm going to talk about is knowing your zones. Now, the best way to know your zones is a power meter, but I understand that power meters can be a bit prohibitively expensive. So if you don't have a power meter, I think the next best alternative is to go off heart rate zones. Knowing your zones is incredibly important because it lets you gauge your effort. Here's an example. If I were to tell you to do an all-out sprint effort, you could probably only maintain that power for about 10 seconds. On the flip side of that, if I told you just to ride as easily as you could probably go for hours, maybe even an entire day. So somewhere in between that all-out effort and the easy as peasy effort, there is a happy middle ground of something that you can maintain for a set amount of time. When I first got my power meter and also my heart rate strap, what I would love to do is go find a local 10-minute climb and just see what my best effort was up that 10 minutes. That would give me a benchmark. On future rides, if there was maybe a 5-minute climb coming up, I'd know how much I could push for that. For example, say I could do 300 watts for 10 minutes. I know that for a 5-minute climb, I can definitely do at least 300 watts. And then if the climb is going to be longer than 10 minutes, I know that I need to dial it back a little bit less than 300 watts. All of this is about getting more in tune with your body. So I highly recommend having a look at your Garmin Connect or whatever app that you use to track your rides and see how you went during your previous workout. Gearing and throwing money at the problem. I'm not usually one to say that throwing money at the problem is always the best way to solve things, but there's definitely some clear-cut scenarios where spending a little bit of money can actually make a huge improvement in your cycling experience. One of those is gearing. When I say gearing, I mean your gear ratios on your bike. Where I live here in Sydney, it is notorious for lots of steep short climbs as well as rolling hills, and I know that a lot of new cyclists find that the gearing that comes with their bike is not too suitable for the kind of riding that we do here. In fact, recently I changed my back cassette from an 1130 to an 1134 and I bought a cheap 105 cassette brand new for about $65. This has allowed me to ride up some really steep hills while still seated and maintaining a good cadence. Talking about spending money on cycling things to improve your cycling experience is a little bit of a slippery slope because I know there's weight weenies and people in the chat and in the comments here who are going to swear by different things that you can buy. But I'm just going to list out a few things right here which I think are the easiest and cheapest things to replace on your bike without going too crazy on the budget. So things like I said before, such as your rear cassette, getting a more comfortable seat that might be more suited for your riding position and posture. This one can be a bit expensive, but getting some carbon wheels which have a little bit of depth to them, maybe around 40 to 50 millimeters, which allows you to have a huge aerodynamic benefit while traveling at fast speeds. And I think this last one is a little bit underrated, but finding some handlebar tape that you find comfortable. Some good spongy handlebar tape can actually be a game changer for the comfort of yourself on the bike. If you think about it, you only contact the bike in 5 locations. 2 is at your feet, 1's on your butt, and the other 2 are with your hands. A brand that I really love right now is Berg. They're based out of Tasmania here in Australia. They make fantastic products, and I think on top of that, they've got some really awesome designs. I think handlebar tape is one of the best ways to customize your bike. And finally, my last one is the social aspect of cycling. One of the best ways to improve on the bike, keep yourself accountable, and just enjoy cycling more is to join your local club or find people or friends who have a similar cycling goal to you. When I first started cycling, I had no idea about anything, and I joined my local cycling club, which was Camray Roadies, and they taught me so much. They taught me everything about safety on the road to riding in groups, and also all the local routes. So I think that riding with a local club has a huge benefit to new cyclists, and even now as a more experienced cyclist, I just love the social aspect of cycling. In the middle of winter, when it's super cold outside and you're pretty tempted to stay in bed, being accountable and having those people that you've committed to meeting up with is what gets me out of bed. So go out there, go join your local club or find a group of friends where that you can ride with. thank you very much guys for watching this video. I hope that these are tips that you find useful and you can apply to your everyday riding as well. If you're a more experienced cyclist, why don't you let us know in the comments below what some of your top tips are, and let's just share some of this stuff around. No need to gatekeep our learnings. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'm going to keep trying to grow this channel even more. I'm not sure what the next goal is going to be. Previously it was 5,000 subscribers, but we just smashed through that recently. But yeah, stick around for the journey. That's going to be the end of the video. So thank you very much guys. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.